Performance anxiety is something we all face, whether you've just started playing or you're performing in front of hundreds. But there's a side of it you might not have considered, and it has nothing to do with playing perfectly. Let me show you. I have a philosophy that every time you perform, you create a bubble, like this salt lamp. The bubble encompasses the audience, you, your emotions, the piece, and everything that you experience in that bubble during the performance is one of a kind. It can never be replicated exactly the same way. And that's what makes each performance so special. After the performance is done, the bubble pops. Later on in this tutorial, I'm going to do something that I've never done in one of my YouTube tutorials. I'm actually going to do a live performance for you so that you can see me put into practice what we're going to be talking about today. Performing is not about perfection. It's about connection. Connection to yourself, connection to the music, and connection to the people that are listening.
I was so inspired by that, but that I went and bought a crystal ball. I don't know if you've ever seen it on my grand piano, but I put it up there. Every time I want to play, I've got the quote framed up on my wall is, when you play, you want people to imagine how beautiful the music is, not how well you play.
It doesn't matter if you're playing for a small group of friends or for a huge audience. Every single performance is a chance to practice that connection. And that's the real magic, being present in the bubble and sharing that moment with others. Now, there are two strategies that I want to teach you in today's tutorial that are going to help you deal and move through performance anxiety. And make sure that you stick around to the end because you're going to see me put these two things into practice with my live performance. The first strategy is to practice effectively. When you do this, you get your piece into the deepest layers of your memory so that your head and your hands can communicate clearly and you can play things as accurately and as musically as possible. This means that even when you're nervous or even when you make a mistake when you're performing, you can get right back on track and continue on with the piece. This also means that even when you make a mistake, you can maintain a high level of musical expression. Now, if you've been on the channel before, then you know that this is the type of video that I usually make. The videos that focus on how to practice very efficiently and effectively so that you can maintain that high level of accuracy and that high level of musical expression. You've seen me talk about 10x methods or revolutionary practice methods that help you do exactly that. Now, essentially, when you're trying to practice effectively, you want to make sure that you can maintain the highest level of accuracy always. And this means that you're likely going to have to practice slower and in smaller sections than you want to. Now, if you want more information on this strategy, that's what my whole YouTube channel is for. So I actually really want to focus on the second strategy in today's video because this is the part of performance anxiety that nobody really talks about. Now we're going to dive right into it, but if you are getting something useful from this video, or if you've gotten something useful from this channel before, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so that you know every time I release a new helpful video. And make sure to copy the link and share it with a friend so that they can also get over their performance anxiety. Not only does doing all of this help you because you get access to all of this helpful content, it really helps support the channel, and I am so grateful for every single member of this community. The second strategy is to practice making yourself uncomfortable. Because in order to truly work through performance anxiety, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's what we're going to dive deeper into right now. So I want to explain a little bit about what performance anxiety is and where it comes from, because that's going to help you understand how to implement strategy number 2 with success. Most performance anxiety comes from the ego. And it's really important to remember that this feeling of performance anxiety doesn't discriminate. Even some of the greatest historical piano figures suffered from performance anxiety, like Chopin. Chopin himself once wrote to his friend Liszt, "I am not fit to give concerts, me whom the public intimidates." The ego is wired to keep us safe, but it's overprotective. The ego sees every performance as a potential tiger, ready to attack. And the truth is, performing won't kill us. Chopin did eventually die, but not from performance anxiety. But here's why it feels so threatening. Back in the day of our ancestors, this part of the brain, the amygdala, was essential for survival. It was responsible for activating the fight or flight response, scanning the environment for danger, like predators or tigers lurking in the bushes. And back then, this response saved lives, and it still does. But today, while we have evolved, that ancient part of the brain hasn't really caught up. It doesn't know the difference between a life-threatening tiger and the imagined judgment of an audience. So it triggers the same response, heart racing, palms sweating, just as if you were in real danger of being attacked by a tiger. The ego, which is terrified of judgment, makes us crave perfection because we're always worried, what will they think? It's very natural to want to try to control everything about a performance, to avoid the discomfort. But as George Sand wrote about Chopin, he doesn't want posters, he doesn't want programs, he doesn't want too many people. He is afraid of so many things that I propose to play without candles, without listeners, on a silent piano. Now, if someone as brilliant as Chopin struggled with performance anxiety, we can all relate. The key is learning how to be brave in the face of discomfort, to get comfortable being uncomfortable, just like Chopin had to. So for this second strategy of practicing finding comfort in the discomfort, I want to give you 2 ways that you can do this. The first strategy is to develop a pre-performance routine. This helps you signal to your brain, hey, it's time to perform, and it's safe. Now, the most popular routine that I recommend that is very effective is every time you sit down to perform, I want you to take 3 deep, slow breaths before your hands even touch the keys. And while you're taking the second and third breath, you're going to be singing through the first phrase of the music. This helps you find the tempo. It gives you a chance to restart the singing in your head if it is at a too fast or a too slow tempo. And it also helps you to create this bubble that we talked about in the beginning of the video. Now, you'll see this in practice in just a couple of minutes when I share my performance with you. Second strategy to help you become comfortable with the discomfort is to perform regularly. I don't mean that you need to go book yourself for a lot of public concerts in front of large audiences. You can mimic the discomfort of a performance in your own home, on your own piano, even when you're by yourself. Some ways that you can do this would be to play for yourself, but turn the lights off, just to make yourself feel a little uncomfortable and to change the environment so that it doesn't feel like your cozy, comfortable home. Play with distractions, like turn the TV on in the background while you're trying to play. Or allow the real life distractions to happen. Perform with a friend watching on Zoom or in person. Or join my free Facebook group and participate in the Fearless Friday posts. Now, this is a cheeky name because obviously nobody that posts the videos is fearless. In fact, everybody struggles with performance anxiety, and that's why I started the weekly Fearless Friday posts. It's a chance for you to perform regularly, to put yourself out there regularly, to practice being uncomfortable regularly. The members of my program for adult piano players, Casual to Confident Piano Player, have the chance to play for each other on a regular basis every single week. And it's incredible to see the progress that they make just by partaking in this practice of putting themselves out there on a regular basis, of giving themselves a chance to practice being uncomfortable and finding the comfort in that. Now, one thing that I want to note about this and that I really want to drive home is that when you practice performing, it's not about practicing playing perfectly. And in fact, the only thing that I can guarantee you is that no performance will ever be perfect. And so instead of making perfection the goal and always falling short of that goal, I want you to make the goal of the performance, first of all, to just show up and do it. And second of all, to get curious. When I was in college and I was performing twice a week, every single week, I had a teacher that said you are not allowed to label a performance as good or bad. And in fact, you're not allowed to make any judgments about the performance. The only thing that you're allowed to do after you perform is to ask yourself, what did I learn from that performance? Here's the thing. When you practice performing, it doesn't just make you a better piano player and a better performer. It actually helps you build up skills of resiliency that transfer to other areas of life too. The feedback from the students that I get inside Casual to Confident Piano Player is that practicing finding the comfort in the discomfort not only helps them with piano, but also helps them in parenting, at their jobs, with public speaking, and really with anything that makes them a little bit uncomfortable, but that they want to do.
In addition to just the technical aspects, what I really like about the concepts that you learn in Casual to Confident, it doesn't actually just apply to piano. There's a lot of mental components that it helps you overcome the challenges while you're working on a piece, but it also helps you just change the way you kind of address challenges in life as well. The positive mentality and mindfulness and kind of being able to, break things down, all of that just translates in so many other areas of life. And I really appreciate that.
All right, now, if you've made it this far, this is where I'm going to practice what I preach. I'm going to show you what it looks like to do this pre-performance routine, to create this bubble before I perform, and to actually do a live performance for you. Now, after I perform, I also have a very exciting announcement, so make sure that you stick around to the very end of the video. Now, I did this live performance right before I recorded this talking portion of the video. And just like I tell my students, I didn't record 100 videos. I did one take of this video. And I can tell you right now, it's not perfect. I made several mistakes. And I didn't have a lot of time to warm up before I played, so it's really not perfect. And this performance is completely unedited. My only goal when I played this piece and recorded it for you was to encapsulate you in this bubble with me and with the music and with all of the emotion that it brought up.
Also, I wasn't going to do this, but I just had to let you know because it's so fitting for this video. Around Black Friday, which is at the end of November here in the United States, I am going to be releasing something very exciting that has to do with performance anxiety. This is going to be a limited time thing that will only be available one time this year. If you want to make sure that you are around to hear about this performance anxiety offer, make sure that you are on my email list. I put a link in the description. You can enter your info, get on the email list so that you will be the first to know when this exclusive performance anxiety offer comes out.
When the performance is over, make sure you watch the rest of the video. This is Moment Musical number 5 by Rachmaninoff. Enjoy. Let me know what you thought of the performance in the comments below. Now, if you want practical tips on mastering your piano practice, getting things into the deeper layers of the memory like we talked about at the beginning of the video, and making yourself uncomfortable and overcoming that performance anxiety, join me for my free piano practice lab in January 2025. I'll walk you through how to structure your practice routines to make sure that you are getting the most effective and efficient practice when you sit down to put the time in. And I'll teach you all sorts of revolutionary practice methods that will help you master confident musical expression. The spots do fill up, so make sure that you use the link right here on the end screen to snag your seat today, so that you can join the hundreds of other pianists that are on this journey to becoming fearless piano players. You're also going to find a video where I talk a little bit more about some tips on how you can overcome performance anxiety. You can snag both here right on the end screen. Happy practicing.